Welcome everyone to this webinar organized by the School Education Gateways Teacher Academy. The course that we are part of is the Erasmus Plus funding opportunities for schools. The course started this Monday, and it will give an introduction to the different opportunities there are under the Erasmus Plus program for schools to apply funding. And in this first webinar, we will have two presentations. First of all, we have a speaker from Norwegian National Agency, Gail Bosek, who will tell us about the Erasmus Plus programs Key Action 1 and Key Action 2 in general. So give an overview of what these two funding schemes can offer. And in the second presentation, we have Vibeke Versted from the Middelfart municipality in Denmark telling about their Erasmus Plus experience and how it was a big success story for that commune. So without further saying, I will give the floor to our first speaker, Gail from the Norwegian National Agency. So here we go.
Thank you, Elina. Well, hello everybody. I'm Gail, and I am right now sitting in Bergen in Norway, while Elin, I guess, is sitting in Brussels. So I've been asked to give you an overview of what the Erasmus Plus program can offer you as a school or as a teacher. And that's what I intend to do in the next 27, 28 minutes. I've made a presentation. In this presentation, you might think that there is a lot of text, and there is some, but there is as well some links. And what I've tried to do is to give you what you need in order to start with a project, or I've tried to make it easy for you to come back to the presentation and then to find whatever you want to find in the presentation. So, as Elina mentioned, I am to give you an overview of the possibilities in Erasmus Plus for the schools. See, I'm supposed to be able to. So, my presentation is not that long. I don't have 90 slides or the like. So, I intend to just let you know what is Erasmus Plus. Ask you the question, is it for you? Which kind of benefits you can get from Erasmus Plus? What does the program let you do once you are in the program? How do you get something from it? If you apply for funding, if you intend to apply for funding, the overview of the key actions, and I have a long list of tips regarding what you could or you should do if you are applying. And the tips are coming from national agency. National agencies are the bodies that in one country are responsible for administration of the Erasmus Plus on behalf of the EU Commission. The money you will get from a funding will come from a national agency, and it's where you apply to. So I think it's quite important for me as a national agency to let you know what we think will make a good application and a good project. So I have some tips for projects and for application, and my last slides will be about your relation between you and your national agency, and what you can actually expect from national agencies. So what is not covered in this presentation is the details about the funding and the activities, because this is modules 2, 3, and 4 of this course. So I've deliberately not given any figures or anything, so I won't let you know how much you can get per day in Italy or the like. Okay. So here, so what is the Erasmus program? The Erasmus Plus program is the biggest supporting program when it comes to education, training, youth, and sport. It's the biggest program in the world, actually. This is a lot of money involved, an overall budget between of roughly 14.5 billion euro over 7 years. And the budget for 2019 for school education is over 400 million euro. I've made in my presentation there is a link to the EU fact sheets, so you can read a lot more about these figures. I can say as well that the funding or the funding available are different from country to country. It depends how much the country itself puts in Erasmus Plus, but as well how many, what is the potential of the applicants, how many applicants they can be. So if you are contacting your NA, you can actually, the NA is national agency, sorry. Each NA can give you the amounts for each key action, for each activity that will be available for the next round when application comes. Later in my presentation, I have deadlines and the like. They have as well the success rate that can be interesting, especially when it comes to applying for partnerships. If the partners are not yet decided on where to apply, it might be an idea to see where it's easier to get funding. But that's between you and me. So don't tell the EU that the national agencies say that you should see the success rates. So, is Erasmus Plus for you? Yes. I am sitting in Norway and I've been here for 21 years and I was an Erasmus student. I came here, stay there. Erasmus changed my life. Erasmus can change your life. Erasmus is for everybody. It's for your pupils, it's for yourself, it's for your colleagues, your school, the local community, the region, the country, and Europe. And even for countries outside of the EU, like Norway, that I represent today. So Erasmus Plus is for everybody. You change one person, you change a group, you change a setting, you change everything, and you have the possibility to do that. So I've taken a list from benefits that I've been copying. Most of them are presentations is my own creation, but that one I've been copying from I think the EU website. The motto of Erasmus Plus is changing lives, opening minds, and this is really what it is. So few benefits from Erasmus Plus will be these ones. I don't actually intend to read them. That I think you can do, but among the most important things, it's the to learn about interculturality, and probably the things that we know the most is to improve and gain language skills. I actually came to Norway to learn English because I couldn't speak a word, but today I work both in English and in Norwegian, and yeah. That's something that everybody can do, actually. It's Erasmus Plus gives opportunity to actually everybody. If you are working in a country that is part of the program, you have actually the possibility to be in the program. So, what does the program let you do? You see that there is a very small in many of my slides, you'll see that there are these blue boxes, blue bubbles with some white writing in it. This, I think what you should do is when you download the presentation, you can read that, okay? I'll go through the first slide and then I'll let you know what is in the box. Okay. So what is in the box is something for you to keep, so you can come back and you don't have to take notes. So, but what does the program let you do? The program lets you get money, and that's quite important. With that money, you can send staff abroad from a duration from 2 days to 1 year. You can send group of pupils abroad. You can send pupils like individuals abroad for long terms, like they can be a school year in another country. The program lets you work and reflect on subjects together with other schools and kindergartens. Like this is typically the partnerships, like you and a school, let's say kindergarten, a kindergarten in Norway and a kindergarten in Spain would like to work together on how how using the nature outside the kindergarten itself, preserving the keeping in mind that the kids have to stay safe. That might be a work, something to work on. And that's typical of the working and reflection on small subject is typical of the school partnerships that I will just touch about later on. The program lets you as well reflect on subject together with other type of organizations, but with a focus on school education. So, for instance, you could decide to work on a curriculum, but it could be linked with an higher education institution that is in charge of training of teachers. That could be something. And what Erasmus Plus program lets you do is to host visitors. You can see that this one is in gray, and the reason why it is in gray is that for that you don't get money. You get money in this program to send people and to have in some of the key actions of the funding, you can have activities that you get money for, but you will never get money to receive people. But that's actually a big part of Erasmus Plus. If you don't receive, if you visitors, then it's difficult to engage in the program. So in the blue box this time, I have actually said the definition of what staff is, because we are always talking about staff abroad, in staff in the school education, but staff in the school setting in Erasmus Plus, it's not only teachers, it's everybody that's actually work in a school. So it's teaching staff, but it's as well non-teaching staff. It can be the nurse, it could be a psychologist, it could be like in kindergartens in many countries, it's people that don't have the diplomas, but they are still working there. So as long as a person is working in a school and that the working link, the working relation can be shown or proven, then this person can actually benefit from the program and be a beneficiary. Okay. Have as well said that pupils, and actually in Erasmus Plus, we're talking about pupils of any age, meaning that for short-term exchanges, you can take toddlers if you want. But if you are talking long-term exchanges, then it's 14 years and above. Okay. So, how do you get something from Erasmus Plus? Well, two things. Either you participate in things that are free of charge and that will everything in Erasmus Plus is free of charge. When you are engaging, it's not costing you money. Okay, but there are actually activities that don't get you money. Like if you are using eTwinning, you're part of Erasmus Plus, but it doesn't give you money. Okay, I've made a link in case someone wants that don't use yet eTwinning, want to go and have a look and register. Okay, that's one thing. You can be a receiving organization that I've said already, and that's quite important. Without receiving organization, you cannot go around with the program. And in Erasmus Plus, you can actually apply for funding. You might be here actually to hear about the money. That's actually quite important, I agree. And in Erasmus Plus, you have two types of fundings. You have the mobility projects and the strategic partnerships. So module 2 and 3 of this course and this MOOC is about mobility projects, while module 4, if I recall correctly, will be about strategic partnerships. So here it might be a bit small. I hope that everybody can see it, but I hope the school education gateway will make my presentation available, because I hope it will help. But here I've listed which kind of application or which kind of funding you can get. Okay, so if you're a rookie, if you're a new beginner, you should concentrate on the first two columns of my table. Okay, that's the easiest way to get in. And actually, if you have to choose between the first column and the second column, if you know nothing about Erasmus Plus, I would start with the first one. Okay. So you can see that in this table, I've had like a soup with letters and numbers, and that's actually the codings of the application and the fundings and everything. And the very last slide of my presentation, there is a glossary, and in this glossary you have an explanation of these terms. Okay, so KA1 is the mobility project. It's for schools only when it's and it's for staff. There, the project duration are 12 to 14 months, and so what you do is that you send people abroad. When you apply just for your institution. You don't need to mention any other institution at the time of application. Okay, so minimum number of organizations involved, only one. The exception is if you apply as a consortium, then there might be several. But if someone is interested in hearing about consortium, that might be a session 5 in this MOOC, because that's a bit different to administrate. Okay, so you can, if you're just a school, just one school, and nobody around, then you should start with mobility projects. Then, if you have partners already, you can start to engage in something that is called strategic partnerships. And in Erasmus Plus for School, there are actually 3 types of strategic partnerships, but only 2 different ways of applying. That might be confusing, but once you know what you want, it's very easy. You can't take wrong. Okay, so if you are only schools, then you should apply in the second column. Okay, and it's when schools want to exchange staff and or pupils. Okay, that's the one. If you want to take abroad some of your pupils, that should be, and the main goal of it, it's the second column. Okay. In the second column, the strategic partnership for schools only, you might combine that with virtual mobility, and virtual mobility is actually e-twinning. Okay. The third column, it's exchange of good practice, and with this project, you actually organizations. It's not only schools. You can include other non-schools. And this organization should share and confront ideas, practice, and methods. That's the goal of the exchange of good practice. While the third one is probably the most complicated to get funding for, but probably the most what should I say, interesting or vision. It might have the biggest impact for the future. It's the third one, the strategic partnership for innovation. There you can develop, test, transfer innovative product and method. It could be curriculum, it could be an app or different things. For this rather big partnerships, then you can get extra money for developing a product actually, and even money as well to make what we call a multiplier event, which means that at the end of your project you can have a conference and invite people. Okay, now I told you it was just an overview. The details will come to in the next modules, but I have actually tips, and have listed them in different categories. But a general tip is start the process early. Actually, it's November now. You are here. You have started the process. It's great. Good point. That's the way to do it. You should try not to be alone, meaning that you should try to engage someone from your school. Two reasons for that. It can be a bit too much for you, and it's very good to have a sparring partner and someone that could take over if something happens. You have to involve the management. They are signing the contracts. They are ultimately sitting with the money. So that's quite important. Another tip is be ambitious. Everybody should want to revolutionize the world and everything, but you have to be realistic. Otherwise, your project won't go through. Another tip is that you should get help from experienced beneficiaries and from others, like the national agencies, people using e-twinning, and there is a lot of material in the School Education Gateway. When you are building your project, keep in mind that a good application is relevant, it's well designed, and has a realistic and measurable impact. So relevance. If your project is not relevant for the EU, for your school, it cannot be funded. There are priorities given by the EU, and they are listed a bit further in my presentation. Okay. I see that I have only a few minutes left, but that's okay. I would like to say as well that a good application will make a good project, and a good application will get funded. So start with the application. That's where everything happens actually at the beginning. Tips about the projects and the activities that you might choose or want to do for KA1, which are the mobility project for staff, are you should concentrate on one or two topics only. Let's say you can have STEM or STEAM and languages. You could have a language for newcomers in the country. Try to keep it not small, but to one or two topics. Okay. Be careful when using the words and talking about study visits and study tours. It might sound for the evaluator like a holiday. So be careful when using that. Do not try to take all your school at the same time on the same trip. Doesn't look good, and you might not get funding for this activity. When you are talking about who will travel, be clear. You don't have to name the persons, but you have to be clear on who will participate. So not Jean-Michel from Saint-Nazaire, but let's say that it will be 2 teachers of English that will ultimately travel to Malta to improve their English skills. That's a way to define. Participation selection, it has to be fair, transparent, and documentable. Remember that. You cannot pick someone because you like this person. The head of the school cannot pick someone because this person is going to retire and they want to thank them. It doesn't work like that. And last tip on the mobility project, get a privilege on job shadowing because it seems to have better value for money, and it's quite appreciable. Okay. When it comes to KA2, one topic, one project, you can have a lot. You can apply for a lot of partnerships. So you should have one topic, one project. And the same participant selection should be fair, transparent, and documentable. And that applies for staff and pupils. Everybody should have the possibility to be in the project. Application and application form. Read the manual. The manual is our Bible, and it's called the Erasmus Plus Guide. Read as well the Erasmus Plus Guide for experts. They are the people that are actually evaluating your application. Okay, in the blue box, I have listed the requirement for reading. This one is 350 pages, and I have listed the pages that you should read. They are in the blue box, both in the Erasmus Plus Guide and in the Guide for Experts. When you are in your application, read the questions and answer them. Apply in the language of the country when it comes to a mobility project, and use a language you master. It is rather difficult to read an application that is where the language is not correct. When you're answering the questions, be concise and clear. Get someone to proofread your application before you submit it. And last thing, submit within the deadline. This is the ultimate thing. If you are not within the deadline, then you're off and you have to wait for 1 year. Okay. And the Erasmus Plus Guide 2019, yes, it is published. It should be on the website of your national agency. And actually, that's my last slide. Here in the blue box, you have the list to the national agencies if you don't know where they are and how to locate them. What you and your national agency, you should contact them. You should visit their website. You should contact them and tell them that you want to have a project. They will help you. The national agency will provide quality information and training for free, always for free. The national agency will never ever ask you to pay to come to a training. They might ask you to pay for your expenses when it comes to travel expenses that someone has to pay, but the events are always free. Okay, you apply to your national agency. They evaluate or find evaluators for your project, and they have the contract with you. Okay, they'll have that. Okay, and ask about your NA about possibilities of training. if they have courses, either online or on-site, if they hold seminars, if they have conferences, if they have funding for preparatory visits, so you can visit either a potential partner or a place where you think one of your teachers can have a job shadowing. And in general, ask them anything you might wonder, because they are sitting with the answers. No wonder about that. So that was it. I have actually a last slide, and it's about the deadlines. Deadlines are 5th of February for mobility projects, and 21st of March for the strategic partnerships. So good luck. Submit online, otherwise you're off. And the last slide is about the names and everything explained. Okay, that was it. It's very short, actually. This kind of seminar we hold for our nationals, now we use the all day to explain everything in details, and we have hours and hours on how to write a good application, how to be a good coordinator, and stuff like that. Your national agencies might actually arrange this kind of seminar, so just go and visit their website, because they will help you. Okay, so bye bye. I'll stay around. I think I want to hear what Vibeke has to say, and thank you for the invitation to present well, this
Thank you, Kyle. So that was well, a very good overview of what's there and what schools teachers should take into account when thinking about Erasmus Plus funding opportunities. I've been following the chat. I haven't now detected any specific question for Gail. There was just a doubt about how long a Key Action 2 project can last, but as far as I know, it should be minimum 1 year.
Yeah. If I'm still there, I can answer. It's 24 months. It's the big ones, the innovation, it's 12 to 36 months. While if you have the school only, it's 24. But if you have long-term mobility for pupils, you can have 34, 36
okay, good. And
months.
We will. Yes.
Everything is in the Bible. Everything
Program
is
guide
there.
will explain these, and we will also emphasize those points further down the road in the MOOC. So please keep following the course. Good. So I think we are now in the right moment to move on to the next speaker. So we have Vibeke Vedsted with us from Denmark, and she's going to tell us about what happened when her town decided to go for an Erasmus Plus experience. So without further introductions, I will give the floor now to Vibeke.
Yes, hello, and thank you very much. Yes, as you said, Elena, I'm going to talk about how we have made Erasmus Plus KA1 a part of our strategy in my town. And I come from the municipality of Middelfart, which is right in the center of Denmark. And you can see a picture of it here. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much. I will go on with this presentation. I'm a little nervous. This is my first presentation online, not looking people right in the eyes while I'm speaking to you, but I hope it will be okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Middelfart municipality is right in the middle of Denmark, as you can see here on the map. We are a quite small municipality with around 40,000 inhabitants. We have 11 public schools and it is the municipality that run these schools and administrate these schools. We have around 3,500 students and around 400 teachers. And I work in the school administration as an educational advisor, and we are situated in the town of Middelfart. We're working from there in the town hall. So that was just a little overview of our town. I'm going to talk to you about today how did we work with Erasmus plus KA1 and what it actually also meant for us. And I'm going to tell you something about our political objectives for the schools. I'm going to tell you about our strategy for the schools as well. Then I'm going to tell you about how we went from words to action using Erasmus Plus Key Action 1 and how we gained new competences and also gained a very nice European network. And maybe we have a result. I'm going to explain that to you as well, and also what comes next. What is the next move for us from this project that we have already been working with and that we ended this October. So we just finished our project. But I'm going to get back to that. In Middelfart, our political objectives for the schools, and that means for all schools, is that all schools should have an international dimension. All schools should educate the students to become entrepreneurs and innovative students. We emphasize the open schools to the local society. That means that education could also be run anywhere else than at the school. Technology and digital understanding is very important for our schools as well, and democracy and student involvement. These are the political objectives. And the international dimension is a rather new dimension for our schools, and that means that it hasn't been easy to implement this dimension at the school because we have a lot of schools saying, but how can we work internationally when we don't have a network? But the strategy is that all students of Middelfart should do at least one international project during their school life. But how? And this is where everything started for us. Because at the administration, we work with the head teachers and also the teachers. But the goal is that these people should influence the students, because we cannot make international connections with the students before the teachers know how to do it. So we decided that we needed to have one international coordinator from each school of our municipality. And some of the schools were very engaged with international projects and that they had a lot of network, and other schools, they didn't even know how to begin or how to start. But joining a network of teachers from all schools, they would help each other. And you can actually see a very nice picture of our network here, where they are speaking to each other, because that is what they can do. They can inspire each other. So we have 6 meetings each year, and there's a lot of inspiration going on these meetings. Obviously, we talk about Erasmus Plus, also about all of the news. We follow the National Agency of Denmark's remarks and bring them back home inside this teacher network. We also have another program in the north called Nord Plus, and we are also very engaged and follow up on that program as well. We talk about intercultural competences among students, how we can use e-twinning in education, global perspectives in education as well, and just sharing knowledge and experience. And that's very, very good. And these teachers are very engaged in the international work, but they are only 1 or 2 teachers in this network. When they come home, it's a little difficult to implement all of this knowledge to all of the rest of the teachers and to the headmaster or the head teacher, indeed. So we still had a little problem about how to manage to integrate this knowledge into the staff room so that it would actually influence the students. So we looked very carefully at the head teacher, and we asked 3 questions. How does the new knowledge that these international coordinators have spread into the staff room? Who will ensure to prioritize the international dimension on the school? And who will support teachers in difficult processes of implementation? And there was one answer, and that was the head teacher, because the head teacher is very, very important while implementing any strategy on the school. So we went a little bit from words, talking about strategy, to action. How can we help the head teachers to become more international? And that is where our Erasmus plus KA1 project came. That was the idea. So we wrote a KA1 project, and it was actually quite easy to write because we had the strategy, we had the objectives, we knew what we wanted, and what we did was to write the KA1 project as a consortium on behalf of all our 11 schools at Middelfart. And the project is called the International Dimension at the Schools of Middelfart. It ran from 2016 to 2018, just ended, and we had 36 persons involved in this consortium. We found courses in Europe. Obviously, when we got the project, we were very happy, all of us. The project was for one head teacher and one international coordinator of each school. And that means that they would go in pair to a course in Europe to find out and learn more about the international dimension, about working interculturally in education. And of course, they would gain a lot of knowledge, but they would also have the chance to talk together, because that's another issue. How would they get the time to actually talk about own strategy on the school? And that means that they had a week together. They had a lot of knowledge because we found some very nice courses for them. And the very most important thing was that each school came home with a nice network of teachers with whom they had already connected to at the course. So that means that we had win, win, and win on all of these accounts that would help the international dimension on each school. When we made the course program, we involved all persons so that it was absolutely clear and transparent who the course was for, when they were going to be involved, and also how at what times they were to do certain things. And I'm going to get back to that. We sent out 2 schools at the time so that head teachers and international coordinators also could inspire each other. And the courses were in Spain, Portugal, Finland, and in Latvia. And they were brilliant courses, all of them. We were very, very happy about them. But how do you find a course which actually also contains quality for a week? And we looked at School Education Gateway, and we found our courses there through the rated courses. So we were very happy about this rating system that the School Education Gateway has. And obviously, we also used our own network as well. But we didn't just send a lot of people out on courses during 2 years. We had a very strict plan of how to do it. Before and after the courses, I had advisory meetings with all participants. So that means that when you were going on a course, you knew that you had to have a meeting, or I called in the course participants to have a meeting before and also after again. At this meeting, we had a very strict agenda, and this agenda was divided into practical content and the real content of the course, with expectations. What are we going to gain from this course? How are we going to find out? How are we going to aim the content of the course as well? And that was very important, and also something that I would pass on to you if you are administrating a KA1 project, that that this agenda is divided, because I could feel that the practical information was actually going to, we could talk for hours and hours about flight details and hotels and how to get from A to B, but we missed a little of the content of the course. So that was just a little tip. We also talked a lot about mutual expectations, what the participants expected from the course, but also what I expected, or the municipality expected from the participants. They were active in all arrangements. They made their own travel arrangements. They could have it the way they wanted it, but it also made them part of this. I didn't do the job for them, so they were active in the process of ordering and organizing their own mobility. When they came home, they made presentations on their own school, and they also made presentations within their own network. And what also happened was that they actually, almost all of them, came home with their own strategy for their own school to run the international dimension. So that was quite amazing. Our conclusion in Middelfart is that this worked. It was very, very nice to have a strict plan, a strategy, and KA1 and Erasmus Plus helped us going from strategy, from words, from talking to action. This was what we wanted, and we also needed to involve as many as possible. We can conclude that the head teachers know how to support their international coordinator through their own knowledge and also a European network. We can also see that our international coordinators are motivated. We can see that every school is working with the international dimension. They have their own development now, not the municipality development, and that is very nice. And the students' involvement is fantastic to see that now we actually have students who are working internationally and involved in new projects. And that is all because of our KA1 project. Here we have a picture of two Danish, a Danish head teacher and a teacher, and a Spanish head teacher and a teacher as well. Very nice men, all of them. They met at a course. They say we are so happy that we met, and they would never have met if it hadn't been for participating in one of the courses that we we did with our project. It's in, I don't think I could pronounce it right in Spanish, but you can see the Spanish name here, Fuenlabrada and Middelfart. We have now 2 schools with a very nice partnership. We have teachers communicating through Zoom, and head teachers, they're also communicating through Zoom. They have applied for each their KA1 project to visit each other, job shadow on each other's school, but also going to the same course in other countries. And what they want to find out more about is inclusive teaching methods and bilingual education. They have plans for a future KA2 project. They are partners, not maybe for life. That's a little big to say, but they have certainly become very, very close school partners. And they have actually also made talk about a possible municipality collaboration where we focus on environmental issues, which I think must say that we have really succeeded sending 2 Danish persons out, and they bring home this for our municipality. I think that's amazing. What is next for us? Well, with a project like this, we have new horizons and new ideas. We would like to engage in another KA1 project focusing on climate and innovation and technology. But we have also found out that we can offer our own KA1 courses. And that is something very new for our municipality. But we could see how well it was organized, sending people out. And we asked ourselves, can we invite people in? And we are very good at climate education in Middelfart. And we thought, well, why not offer it to others? And this is what we have done. So we have just at the end of my presentation here, we have actually, this KA1 project has also led to us organizing a course about innovative methods in teaching green energy and sustainability. And as you can see, we are going to use the UN 17 World Goals and invite STEM teachers across Europe to come to Middelfart and learn about these methods. We are very far with our course description, and when it is ready here in November, we are going to use School Education Gateway to put it out there. And if you want to read more, you can read more about it here on this link. I'm not going to go further into that, but if somebody should be interested, then you're very welcome to email me, and I can send you our course description. That was also very quickly a very quick presentation from me. I hope that you had a little tip or a little idea of how you can organize a project. I think that if it's a municipality that organizes it for a lot of schools, or if a school organizes a project for a lot of teachers, I think it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I think the most important thing is to have a very clear objective, a very clear plan of what you would like to do, and then you can succeed in these KA1 projects. So I wish you all the best of luck if you are going to apply, and thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Vibeke. It was very inspiring to hear of the holistic approach to the program and how you have benefited from it. So I think that serves as a good example to all of us. I've seen there are some questions in the chat, not specifically to Vibeke, but if you have any questions to her, now would be the time to ask those. I've seen somebody wondering how to find partners for job shadowing or how to find partners for strategic partnerships. So for both of these, you can use both eTwinning, but you can use also the School Education Gateway, where we have dedicated sections, mobility opportunities, and then strategic partnership search. So we will be talking about those two sections in the coming modules of the MOOC. So you will then receive more practical information on how to benefit from them. I see also a lot of people exchanging contact information already here in the chat, which is good. Please just know you can also do that through the platforms eTwinning and the School Education Gateway. So then also your request will be seen by even more people. So I'm just checking if there is any concrete question right now, but if you're part of the course, you can also post us questions through the forum. So that's also one way you can continue exchanging. And otherwise, I think we are closing the webinar. So we can then give a big thanks to our speakers, Kyle and Vibeke. So thank you for sharing your information and practice. And as Gail said earlier, please remember to read the program guide very carefully. That's the main source of information, including all the technical information, information on the fees and deadlines and numbers, as well as looking information from your own national agency. So that's something you can do already right now. Check the program guide and contact your national agency to see what further support they can give you. So thank you very much. I will just stop recording now, and the recording and the slides will be available on the platform.